So by now, we've all heard about it. We've seen the terribly low IMDb rating and heard about how terrible people think this show is. From Scooby Doo fans, fans of cartoons, TV comedies, or mysteries, and those who don't even watch stuff like that, Velma would actually find a way to upset every single one of them. People would start to watch it because of how bad they heard it was. It was hyped up with regular marketing as well as negative word of mouth after it premiered. There were high expectations, I'd say, because it was a part of the Scooby Doo franchise, which is tied directly to Warner Bros. Discovery and its streaming service HBO Max, on which animated productions have been scaled back considerably. Mindy Kaling has been used to market Velma as she's behind the voice and helped to produce the whole thing, and she's taken a lot of blame for this show. She's known for her comedic writing and for writing herself into her own shows, and it was implied that she was behind all of this. But she's not actually the one writing or directing it. The right person to blame probably would be the developer of the show and the writer of the first episode, Charlie Grandy. Like Mindy, Grandy has comedic roots in The Office and has also written a lot for SNL in the 2000s. He also wrote some for Mindy's show, The Mindy Project, which was basically Mindy's own Sex and the City fantasy. I gave it a chance and it wasn't for me. I'm a fan of hers though, a modern comedy writing icon. But I'm also a fan of Scooby Doo and all of Hanna-Barbera's cartoons, so I had to eventually give Velma a chance. I tried getting through all 10 episodes. I really tried. And at first it seemed like it would be really difficult. You know how if 100 people say the same thing about something, it might be true? Or where there's smoke, there's fire? Well, I braced myself and gave it a watch.
My origin story. Yeah, it was me, not Fred and his weird sex fan. And it starts with a murder, bitch.
We're already cringing. First scene, roaches having sex. We're already cringing. Just the intro alone is like, I want to find it funny. I want to laugh, but it's definitely like a weird alternate universe of...
You know what? We're done here. Peace.
Is this some kind of upside down alternate reality, alternate universe? I guess this is a prequel of some sorts.
Crap. Especially.
There's a lot of sighs and moans. I mean, they gave her a cute little family with a cute little backstory, I guess, and then...
So I put on my mom's glasses and vowed I wouldn't open her gift.
She doesn't even need glasses? Is that what's implied here? Oh my god. She has panic attacks is what they are. It's not really feeling... I'm really not getting alternate universe Shaggy from him, but maybe that'll change. Oh, that's not fair. He gets laughed at for confessing low-key, and then he gets what? A cop pulls up? Someone shot his kneecaps off. Why are their faces the same? They really just shot Fred in his kneecaps. How's he walking with shot kneecaps? The cringe icing on the cake is how often they use cockroaches. More roaches. What is the deal with them and these roaches everywhere? Literally my least favorite bug? You're just gonna have them all over this show like it's a character? Well, that's a nice little touch right there. Captain Caveman cereal bowl. That's probably the deepest Scooby Doo related thing actually shown. It's a Hanna-Barbera thing. There are two cartoons that Hanna-Barbera made a long time ago.
It's possible Fred didn't do it.
Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong. He did it.
I feel like it would be funny if I was a certain demographic. It's just not for me.
You know what 420 is, right?
Yeah. It's code for adults who still watch cartoons. Now, have you seen Daphne?
So they're doing a great job of just completely flipping the entire character's personality. A complete 180 from what we know of them. And it's not like in a cool, oh wow way. It's like out of all the alternate universes, this is like one of the worst universes for Scooby Doo. Again, I'm hoping that somehow by the end of this season, it all starts to make sense. This Daphne looks very unnaturally redheaded. This Fred looks very unnaturally gel-headed, or whatever that hairstyle is. So Norville's father actually looks like Shaggy. They're doing this shit on purpose. They're making this weird on purpose. Like they're doing it on intentionally. Like they know if anyone would be getting into drugs at some way, it would be Shaggy. But this Shaggy is a good kid. He doesn't smoke anything. And then they got the two supposedly good kids just like dealing drugs or whatever.
Friends, my name is Fred. What's yours?
I'm just picturing Dennis from Always Sunny right now.
Hey, do you have anything that can make me feel better about having ruined my life?
Wait, Dad?
Velma?
Awkward.
Entitled rich guy who might kill someone because he has a tiny dong.
How does she know? I don't mind him just being a dumb rich kid, but there's just so much added to that, so much unnecessary. Okay, seeing it in context, I get why they actually started kissing, but it's just more unnecessary madness that the characters wouldn't actually be dealing with. She like got really nervous and had an anxiety attack again while her lesbian crush was standing there. I don't know what that was. She was like, make me laugh, and then she kissed her. She should have just started tickling her.
Norville, we only kissed because Daphne was trying to stop a hallucination. She gave me my mom.
That was the first time I legitimately kind of chuckled.
Mazel on your first kiss, Velma.
They even got someone to kind of sound like the original Shaggy voice. Like they just, wow, they're just trying really hard to shit on what we know about these, everything we know about. Forget everything you know about Ruby Doo, because they're about to flip everything upside down. It's going to be like a nightmare. It's like they're mocking us with the middle-aged adoptive father Shaggy look-alike.
Sure, she was my first kiss, but whenever I used to make out with my hand, I called it Fred.
Okay, Velma.
So lame. I love the worst guy in school. I'm not showing a whole lot of emotion right now because I already heard that this would be terrible, but damn, what are they doing? I hallucinate like I'm on LSD even though I don't take drugs. Is this wrestling? Is this what girls wrestling is? Like they just toss each other? What's going on? They give Shaggy a cardigan that doesn't match. It looks weird. Isn't there a mystery to solve or something? So real Shaggy is some kind of counselor with a great voice for radio, a lot like his original voice actor was. And that's literally the only nice, respectable type of Scooby Doo callback I've seen so far, outside of the tiny little references to the classic monsters and that Hanna-Barbera bowl. Everything else is like, what is this? If they weren't using characters licensed by Warner Brothers, technically, would I still be watching this? I don't think so. Okay, time to skip around. Sometimes the background characters are the funniest part of the scene. They got this Andy Griffin Show looking character. Like the guy from the Andy Griffin Show, the sheriff. Why'd they do that? They're supposed to be focusing on Scooby Doo. Did they forget? Wait, who's writing this stuff? Each episode has a different writer, yo. You really can't blame it all on Mindy, though. She's not writing any of this. Now, are they teasing us with an actual Scooby Doo dog? What is all this?
You look like a white influencer trying to choreograph her own dance instead of just stealing one.
I know, I'm trying, but
Oh my god. That wasn't a bad joke. It just... The weird thing is that Velma's the only one not really actually working on solving some kind of mystery. It's like, it's the other guys who are slowly making their way into figuring something out. Like Daphne's trying to figure out who her parents are or something. And they're actually doing something that would actually make for a good storyline if they would just kind of stick to one. Another huge Captain Caveman reference. And just like the other little slight cameos of Hanna-Barbera, this has been one of the highlights of the whole series so far. And it's like the 5th episode. Got the frozen caveman. That's a nice touch. Not Velma being jealous that Norville has found someone. While she clearly laughed at him, now she's jealous that he found somebody else. As a former band kid, there was never a time where we got together outside of school and played our instruments in the living room. That never happened. Just for fun? Are they gonna explain the roachism? Or do they just think it's funny to be like, oh, there's roaches everywhere? So they made it to where Daphne's parents are Captain Caveman costume characters. The most interesting thing that happened so far. So it took a good 6 episodes for Velma to get into actual detective mode.
can't die. Sylvie's gonna put a treadmill in my room.
How many stories up was that? Did she just fall on her back from a freaking... That's crazy, man. Like, if people really didn't know who she was and she was well disguised as a man, she would just be getting ignored. Again, this whole thing is like a Velma fantasy. Like, is she still hallucinating? Is she in a coma? That'd be wild. This end of this is like the Velma we know is in a coma. Now, this is the closest thing to an actual Scooby-Doo moment that they've had. And we are 7 episodes in. That was actually kind of clever. They're using old Scooby audio and whatnot. Everything leading up to this, though, was almost unbearable, though. Like, it shouldn't have... If only the whole show was like that. But it seems like since episode 6, it was actually kind of building an actual mystery thing that they were all trying to solve at once. I can see why people were like, this is the worst show I've ever seen during the first 4 episodes. If they would have just kept watching after episode 6, which is asking a lot for a brand new show. You need to get their attention from like the first 3 episodes, period. It didn't start getting interesting until 6 and 7. Turns out her mother's still alive, and I mean, they could have worked with this from the first 3 episodes. So here's a mystery machine without the custom paint. They're going to show Scooby Doo at the last 2 seconds of this thing. I just know it.
Welcome home, Mom.
I'm home.
What's the matter? Did you forget we're poor?
That's like slight chuckle number 2 or maybe 3. This is episode 9, by the way. Again, this episode is another example of how it's just gotten way more interesting at the last minute. Now, all of a sudden, she has a half-sister and her mother is back. Oh yeah, Fred and Daphne decide to be some sort of power couple so that they can be cool at school. And her mom gets visions like sees Raven from That's So Raven.
If our situations were reversed, you would have left me for dead after my first hallucination.
But I was worried my mom...
Ooh, way to get real. He's not lying. Good for Norville. The baby rolling segment is kind of funny. She said, Amanda, please. Let's see what the final episode does to wrap this up. It's just a big mess, really. You're trying to make it a fun mess, you know, like a big fun mess. No way, so Fred is actually designing this big old van of theirs. Okay, so Norville goes to find a better place to go to school, some place where he can be happy. They still don't know who's cutting these heads open. Now she misses Norville after he finally got tired of her shit and left. So she does end up caring about Daphne and Fred. She does end up caring about Norville after he stops caring about her.
If this is Velma, don't forget, you're a piece of...
She does get some actual closure with her mother. Again, the red-eyed bats are a nice touch. So she summons bats like Batman with some sort of perfume.
Get them off! Wait, no. Keep them on.
You ruined it. They ruined it. So like Velma finally is using her brain and like figures out the freaking mystery at the end here. 10 episodes for 1 mystery, by the way.
Because the serial killer is...
Victoria
Oh my goodness. That's actually a surprise. Because I was suspecting Fred's father. So one thing this show got going for it is that the actual reveal is actually kind of surprising. So Fred's mom hypnotized Velma's mom, blah, blah, blah. And then they threaten this reverse get out scenario. And Velma uses her brain to use Fred to get out this weird situation. Oh, okay. Then he implies that she was possessed by a ghost? See, it's a big mess. They tried to make it a big fun mess, but Boo Boo Bear, that's a Yogi Bear reference, some more Hanna-Barbera. So they set it all up right at the end of this season. There's no dog yet, is there? Oh, really? They kill him? Well, so I can honestly say that those first 4 or 5 episodes, unless you were in their small group of the targeted demographic, or maybe high, that it was hard to watch. Mostly on the fact that this was not the Scooby-Doo gang you know at all. And I just had to keep reminding myself, it's just an alternate universe. It's a prequel. It's just an alternate universe prequel. Knowing that it could get better and be true to the franchise is what kept me watching. I'm fine with the choices of actors that they were using for the teenagers, and I can see why Mindy or whoever picked them to voice the characters. You know, like actors like these have their own comedic swagger that people like. Like Shaggy's voice might not be too crazy well known by his face, but he's done a lot of voice work, more than anyone else in the cast actually, and he has that funny, versatile improv background that can be heard in his voice. Starting on episode 5 or 6, after Velma's mom was revealed to be alive, and after the gang finally started trying to solve the murder mystery, the show picks up. By the end of episode 10, the characters also finally started acting like the characters we all know, basically by not being so weird and unlikable like they were at first, actually becoming friends of some sort, and actually solving a mystery. The reveal, by the way, of who or what was going around snatching brains was actually someone you wouldn't have expected. They also heavily teased a season 2, which it will be getting. It's already been greenlit. The haters were like, how? It's so bad. But a season 2 is definitely needed, because now that they've slowly worked up these characters to being the mystery solving kids we know, kinda, season 2 can actually be what we were expecting out of this show in the first place. Velma does have a payoff in the second part of the season, but it actually requires people to still be watching it. Like I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get through the first half. Since when was it marketable to be bad in the beginning and then slowly get better? You would think the writers would at least have a really good pilot and then get worse, then maybe get better. I would say that the usual formula for a show is to start out good, gradually get worse, be garbage, and then suddenly get good again. What Velma did was gradually get worse from the very first scene, hit the garbage level, and then gradually get better, which is very bold for a show to do in their first season. But maybe it was their intention to have the first few episodes be obnoxious so that they could get some negative publicity. They wanted some buzz to go on with this show. And I would say it was probably a bad idea in hindsight, even though it kind of worked, because it still has the worst rating of any show on the internet. Velma's style overall was a mess, like Venture Bros messy, but Venture Bros built that mess over many years and episodes. Velma tried doing that over 1 season and 10 episodes, so it's just messy. But yeah, even though a lot of people are already turned off to this show, it does deserve to be given another chance with a season 2. And the reveal of the Mystery Machine band not yet being the Mystery Machine would be the biggest clue of that. We'll probably even see Norville get high and adopt a brown Great Dane puppy.